I don't get it. How does this story relate to the movie?
Shut up, bitch!
What up, y'all? Welcome back to another video. It's your boy Darren, man. We back with another reaction video, man. Today we finna be reacting to a true story behind the movie Sinners. The true story behind the movie Sinners. I already seen Sinners. I already seen Michael B. Jordan, the twins, whatever. I seen the whole movie. The movie is a 10 out of 10. I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. The movie is 10 out of 10. The movie is probably gonna be the best movie of 2025. I'm not gonna lie to you. But my girl was telling me about how this is based off a true story, kind of, but I never like got into it. But I want to react to this because I feel like, I don't know, some type of entertainment. But I don't want to keep wasting your time talking in the intro. Like, comment, subscribe. We on the road to 100 subscribers, man. We almost there. And let's get into the video. The true story behind the movie Sinners. I'm not gonna lie, Sinners is the vampires on Sinners was kind of like, it was kind of creepy looking, bro. Like the main one had like long fingers, and like the leader guy or whatever he was, and I don't know if y'all watch Vampire Diaries, y'all know those vampires from Vampire Diaries and the vampires from Sinners is totally different, but they kind of got the same concept of how they can't enter a house without somebody inviting him and stuff like that. Personally, I like the Vampire Diaries vampires better, but
before the horror movie Sinners took audiences into a world of temptation, music, and shadows, there was Robert.
I want to see this movie again. I'm not gonna lie. Like, that's how good this movie was. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna be doing a lot of pausing whenever I'm talking. I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. So when I'm talking, I'm probably gonna pause it.
Robert Johnson. In the movie Sinners, there's a character named Sammy. You know where the story is going if you've seen the movie.
Yeah.
With Robert, he didn't come from a script. He wasn't dreamed up in a writer's room. He was real. And that might be the most terrifying part. This is the story that may have inspired the movie Sinners.
Yeah, my girl was telling me that he's actually he was a real person, but obviously the vampires is not real, but the twins was real people too.
Robert Johnson wasn't born a legend. He was born in Mississippi in 1911. A black boy in the Jim Crow South, surrounded by hardship, mystery, and secrets. His mother raised him alone after her husband fled town in disguise to escape a lynching. Robert grew up with dirt in his name.
On the movie, his dad was like a preacher though. So how does that even work out? His dad was a whole preacher. His dad was not in his life. Like, his dad was in his life.
Bells and songs forming in his chest. He didn't take to the fields like most. He found music. First on a diddley bow nailed to a shack wall. Later in the back rooms of juke joints, watching the early bluesmen bend sorrow into sound. Then came love. At 17, he married a girl named Virginia, who was 14. They were just kids.
Wait. Huh? How is this a true story behind Sinners? And he did not marry nobody. I didn't see him marry nobody. And where does the twins come in this? I did not see nobody marry nobody in that movie.
She became pregnant and Robert gave up music. He tried to do right, tried to work, but fate didn't care about good intentions. Virginia and their unborn child died during childbirth. By the time Robert arrived, they were buried. And when her devout family saw him show up carrying a guitar, they didn't just grieve, they cursed him. They called it devil's music and blamed him for the deaths. That moment, the guilt, the grief.
They blamed his music for the deaths?
Forever. After Virginia's death, Robert disappeared. Nobody knows exactly where he went.
So where does the twins come into this? Am I tripping? Where does the twins come into this? What did the comments say? The fact that Robert Johnson's story is basically known as the origins of the Crossroads Demon Devil deals and mind blowing. Let me keep watching, bro.
For how long? But when he returned, he wasn't the same person. He could play, not like before, and not like anyone else. It was as if his fingers knew things they shouldn't, as if every sorrow he'd ever felt had been pulled through his strings. Son House, a blues legend, said it best. Before, Johnson was just a kid bothering the crowd. Now, he sounded like two men playing at once. So the whispers started, the stories and the myths, that he had gone to the crossroads at midnight, that he made a deal, that the devil had taken his soul and left him a sound no one could explain.
What?
There's a more grounded version of that story. Though, it's no less haunting. Some say Robert met a man named Ike Zimmerman, a skilled guitarist who took him in.
I'm confused, bro.
They say their favorite place to practice was a graveyard in Beauregard, Mississippi. But why there? Because it was quiet. Because nobody complained. Because the dead don't mind the blues. But in 1930,
so this man was so obsessed with music, he would go to like a graveyard or play a quiet place and play the music. This man was playing devil music. This man did not care that his music was attracting deaths. He just gonna play the music. Like, what the heck, bro?
Yeah. Just a year after recording his first songs, Robert Johnson died. He was 27 years old.
He died.
Some say he was poisoned by a jealous husband. Others point to syphilis. Some still say the devil came calling. Whatever the cause, the world.
Wait. So how did this go towards sinners, bro? How did this story go to sinners? Because the old dude that they referring to died when he was older. Like, I mean, we didn't even see him dead. He was just old. I don't get it. I mean, of course the story is gonna be different because vampires is not real, but like, still, like, what? I don't get it. How does this story relate to the movie? Like, the only thing that relates to it is him playing the music and stuff like that, and him causing deaths.
Before it ever really had him, he left behind just 29 recorded songs. That's it. Those songs would ripple across generations, reshaping music forever. He was more than a legend.
So his music was all around the world even after his death. So his music kept living on after he died or something?
Lyrics were filled with omens, hellhounds, hoodoo magic, powder on the feet, whispers of damnation. He sang about things most men were too scared to name out loud. But underneath the ghost stories and the guitar licks was a man who loved, who lost, who tried to find meaning in a world that rarely offered any. A man who turned pain into poetry and sorrow into something beautiful and terrifying. But Sinners isn't Robert Johnson's story, but it walks the path he helped carve, and it's pretty similar. The film's darkness is themes of temptation, guilt, and trading pieces of their soul to feel something again. All of it echoes Johnson's life. A man who may have wanted greatness, but never expected the ghost.
Okay, I remember in the movie, everybody dancing to his music, and everybody's like, vibing to his music, and he's just singing louder and louder and louder, and that's attracting the vampires even more. Like, they didn't even know that the music was attracting the vampires. The more he sung, the more the vampires was gonna come towards him. So I can see that people dancing to it, but the only thing that they're saying is different from real life in the movie is that people was just dying. Like, when his music was heard, people just end up dropping dead, and people thought his music was the devil music and stuff like that. But man, I don't think his music was the devil music unless he was saying certain things in the music.
I'm with it.
You feel what I'm saying? But
he didn't ask to be a myth. But myths don't ask for permission. A few people also said, like Keith Richards, he said there's just something supernatural about Robert. And Eric Clapton also said, I had found a master. But maybe
I might have to click on this video right here because I'm trying to figure out where the twins. I'm trying to figure out where the twins come in. Isn't the twins based off of real people? Ain't the twins based off of real people? Right? Am I tripping? I could have sworn they are. I don't think it's only him.
Plays every time you hear the blues. Is Robert Johnson part of the famed and unfortunate 27 Club, where influential entertainers passed away at 27 years old, like Jimi Hendrix, Janis Joplin, and Kurt Cobain? It is said that every one of those people had more in common than dying at 27 years old. It was their dealings with the devil that connected them.
Yeah.
Is Robert Johnson the inspiration behind the character Sammy from Sinners? Or is it pure coincidence? You be the judge. Let me know in the comments. This is the story that may have inspired the movie Sinners.
It might have.
The character Sammy.
God made man and he made him out of clay.
It might have influenced it. I'm not gonna lie, but hey, let me click on this video right here though.
You twins? Nah, we cousins.
Growing up in the South, you hear cautionary tales of rattlesnakes hidden in the palmetto bushes, a time when blacks and whites shopped on opposite sides of the streets. And if you're like me,
I'm not gonna watch this whole video. I'm just trying to see,
grandmother
like,
would randomly break out into a humming.
I'm just trying to see different stories on how, like, a real life situation or real life thing that happened relates to this movie. Like, I'm trying to figure out, is the twins based off of real people?
Tune while she was cooking, or right before she laid out a TED talk about the dangers of getting wrapped up into the worldly exploits of the streets and the devil's playground. This film touches on all of those nostalgic morsels, from the music, set design, to the awesome performances from a very talented cast. And we have to address some of the not so hidden symbolism within the film, and also the choice of historical nuances. Sinners is here, and I had to drop everything to go see it in the theater and join you all here to talk about it. I'd like to say thank you all for...
All right.
The film is about twin brothers Elijah and Elias Moore, infamously
So their real names is Elijah and Elias,
known as the Smokestack Twins or Smoke and Stack, played by Michael B. Jordan. They pick up their cousin Sammy Moore, known as Preacher Boy, played by Miles Caton.
Yeah.
The twins have returned to their hometown of Clarksdale, Mississippi, to open up a juke joint after serving in World War I and working for Al Capone in Chicago, before pulling off a heist that gave them enough booze, resources, and money to come back home and take advantage of the bootlegging industry. Their little cousin Sammy was the missing piece with his obvious musical abilities and his not so obvious ancestral inheritance of being a griot. The film starts off by giving us a bit of lore about griot. Griot, or griots, aren't just performers. They're custodians of ancestral memory. They remember the lineage of kings, the triumphs of ancestors, and the wisdom that's buried in time. Other cultures around the world had their versions of the same ancestral human libraries. In Ireland, they were called the Fili, and in Choctaw land, they were called firekeepers. This ability in the community is very... They knew tactics, discipline,
This is a whole different thing, man, from the last video I was watching. This is talking about the whole movie. The other one was just talking about Sammy.
Statistics and how to use weapons as well. And these skills made them a very valuable asset in the crime underworld.
I gotta watch this movie
cities like
again,
Chicago, New York, Detroit, and New Orleans, some black soldiers started working as security for speakeasies, running bootleg operations, and acting as the muscle for number rackets. or they even managed the gambling dens themselves. The mafia and other ethnic crime syndicates.
Alright, y'all. Alright, y'all, that's it for this video, man. I didn't want to finish the second video because I already watched a whole nother video, and I didn't want to finish the whole second video, and it was kind of long trying to finish up this video. But basically, I'm just trying to figure out a whole bunch of stuff that's related to sinners that's happened in real life. Cause I think some of the story is based off of a true story, but obviously not all of it. But make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe. We're on the road to 100 subscribers, man. And I'll see you on the next video. Peace.